Hello, my name is host Eric, and I am the host of Talking with Famous People. And this episode of Hawking with Famous People is called A Thorough Introduction to Extroverted Intuition. Why am I making this video right now? The answer is because I didn't have to get out of my chair to move the mics. So I've been sitting here watching some videos and just kind of meowing. By which I mean failing to make a decision regarding anything to do. Sitting here, thinking, smoking, watching, unsure, disordered, considering all sorts of options. I have been asleep now for perhaps 18 hours or so, I would guess. No, more like 12. I thought it was later than it was, or I don't know. I thought I went to bed earlier than I did. One of the two. I think I went to bed around 10 something last night, or 11 maybe. Regardless, I'm rested. And I'm not on any kind of Adderall. So, this results on any kind of Adderall. I'm not on any Adderall. So, this results in an Eric that is more naturally chaotic than perhaps I manifest usually in videos. Particularly right now, particularly today, particularly at this moment in the week off stage that I usually take every month. This moment in a lot of different ways. This will end up being take one of this video, almost for sure. I'll probably end up doing it again, because this video is supposed to be about extroverted intuition. I haven't really talked about it yet, but I'm getting there, believe me. And I don't feel like I've gotten rolling yet, either. I feel like I'm stumbling around, trying to find my way. But again, the nice thing about having a video that's about extroverted intuition is that as an ENTP, as an extroverted intuition dominant, I can link back all of the stumble bumbles in this video to extroverted intuition. Well, that's what it's doing. It's grasping around for angles. And when it lands on one that seems promising, it's going to pursue it and chase down that path as far as it meaningfully takes them, and then looking for branching possibilities the whole way off as well. So it ought to be relatively easy to make a video about extroverted intuition insofar as I'm demonstrating the process of extroverted intuiting as I'm doing it, because I don't have anything really prepared. Now let's go and look at this issue of preparation a little bit more thoroughly, because it's not true that I have nothing prepared. What motivated me to start this video is what motivates me to start most videos, is an idea that I think sounds promising, or a notion that I think is worth exploring or developing a bit in a video. In this instance, I don't even remember what the initial thought was, because whatever the initial thought was, it was supplanted by the fact that the reason I'm going to make this video instead of some other video that I might be making, or one of the other many options I consider doing, including a number of different SI tending errands and things that need to be done and various shit like that, is the fact that I could easily enough get it started just by moving the microphones over a little bit, because I had left them almost all the way set up. So it seemed easy, and then discussing the fact that the decision was made based on that weird criterion seemed interesting enough as a starting point, once I had forgotten, as I still had forgotten, my original idea that prompted me to do this. Well, Eric, how could you have forgotten it? It was just a couple of minutes ago. Well, that's part of the NESI axis, where to the extent that one is focused on and attending to various possibilities and assorted ways in which one can exploit the present to create a new future, then one is not focused on attending to that which has already been determined. And so it is that somebody with any in the dominant slot is likely to be deemed scatterbrained. And correctly so. We are quite scatterbrained. What's interesting as well, though, I think, is that it's my hypothesis, I guess it's about as strong as I could call it, my hypothesis that people with extroverted intuition in the dominant slot are more or less immune from Alzheimer's disease, senility. And the reason is because our brains apparently, or at least according to the famous Dario Nardi brain scan studies, is that people engaged in extroverted intuition are lighting up different parts of their brain concurrently that normally people are more focused on one area or something like that. So that tends to suggest that we're less susceptible to what I consider diseases of cognitive habit. I think that's what senility is, ultimately. It's succumbing to a singular manner of existence. Not changing, not growing anymore. But, you know, I don't really have any evidence for that or anything. So, not at hand anyway. I think there's evidence out there. Anyhow, one thing that you'll note about extroverted intuition is it doesn't seem particularly interested or worried about where it is related to where it is supposed to be going, or some central map about what's being discussed or anything like that. So it seems, to the extent that one is going to personify that mode of attention, extroverted intuition, one would personify it as quite carefree, that it doesn't seem to worry too much about anything around it. It's confident and comfortable that there will always be a way out. Of course, there's not always a way out. And sometimes extroverted intuition's blind optimism, I think is what you could call it, blind optimism causes or relates to or whatever bad things. So it's not necessarily something you want to embrace. Because as a modality, like as a cognitive function, it may be about generating new possibilities, new various options for the current moment. But as a mode of existence, it is about exploration at the expense of security, certainty, familiarity. So this is why NE and SI are on opposite ends of the axis, and the extent to which you prioritize one, you don't prioritize the other. Introverted sensing is about security, consistency, familiarity, reliability, things you can count on as being part of who you are and part of your identity and your life experience. So ISFJ is going to have a lot of personal things that they turn to each day that are the same, that provide them comfort, familiarity, make them feel good, attend to their own bodies, needs, and things like that. And additionally, on a metaphysical realm, SI, or introverted sensing, is going to be concerned about planning for the future. So, for example, one SI decision that I made recently, in my effort to prioritize SI a little bit more, is that I decided not to sell any of the marijuana that I grew to the dispensary. I'm going to keep it all myself and smoke it all myself. It should last me a year, probably, which is going to save me a lot of money from the dispensary. I originally wanted to sell some of it to the dispensary, and the primary reason I wanted to sell it to the dispensary was NE plus FE. So NE said, well, I'd rather have the cash now because I'll always be richer later. That's what it assumes, right? I'll always be richer later because things are developing. But in fact, as I found out with the debate business, I'm having actually a down year from last year. It's not quite as robust, and so I've had pared back on staffing, and I'm doing more of it all myself. So, but I've got a good partner in place now, and I know it's going to grow from here. I'm not worried about that. That's NE coming in and saying, look, Eric, you're going to be fine. Everything's rolling as planned. There's no reason to think it's not. And if there do come up new problems, then you'll deal with it as you always do, on the fly, seat of the pants, blah, 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 blah. Well, a mature ENTP is one who's learning to, at least, I don't know if we ever really quite learn it, but at least is trying to and is valuing, I think, attending to those SI matters of security, long-term preservation of resources, preservation of value, and spending time creating the stories of the relationships and moments of your life right now, not just spending time reflecting on the future, projecting out into the future or reflecting on the past, but spend some time in the moment. And I've been trying to do that a bit. Last night, for example, I had a really great and emotional experience where Compton and Dixie both, I called her Lacey, Jesus Christ, where Compton and Dixie both got up on the bed with me, and Dixie was so affectionate, it's crazy. What it made me realize is that it's been Dixie and Compton as best friends, and it's been two pairs of us, and now it's three of us together. It's a new story. It's a new set of characters and a new relationship. A three-legged stool here now that is really sound and strong. Compton and Dixie are amazing. Part of being a mature SI person. Fucking goddamn it! Hold on a second. That polar FI, I got no control over it at all. Anyway, so I have an opportunity now to build those stories and build those attachments, and love the shit out of Compton and Dixie, like I should have been doing all along, probably. And like I said, clean this place up, make it a home. I'm going to be doing that. And I think that if you're an ENTP like me, I don't know if we can rush this process. We've got to, our default setting as an extroverted intuitor is the world is constraining us way too much in way too many ways, that it is too limited, it is too buttoned down, it is too tied up, it's not free enough. More freedom, that's what we need. That's the NE-DOM's driving message. I need fewer restraints and more freedom at all times. But that's not actually reality. I don't need more freedom and fewer restraints at all time. I need I hate to say the word, but I need more of a balance. It's true. I'm going to always need a lot more freedom and fewer restraints than most people. It's never going to change. But I need to show a little bit more self-discipline. I need to get shit in order around here. And I'm going to, and I'm not even... I'm not even like worried about my level of commitment to do so like I normally would be, where I go, oh, Eric, you're really going to follow through on that? I am going to follow through on it. It's going to take a long time, too. I don't think I'm going to put a handle on it all in one day. It's going to be a long process. I'll do a little bit of work at it here and there. I hate projects like that, right? Where you've got to peck away at it over time, and you have to trust that you're going to stick with it. Things like that are challenging for an extroverted intuitor, for sure. I mean, it involves spending a lot of time thinking about previously executed plans and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I want to title this video A Thorough Introduction to Extroverted Intuition, and I think that you get a good feel for it in this video, probably. I'm sort of all over the place, and I'm also on topic the whole time. I don't really have a roadmap like I should if I were doing a proper impromptu speech, like I teach the students to do, but I'm following a narrative arc nevertheless. It's interweaving both descriptions of the cognitive function as a manner of attention with my own personal experiences as an NE-DOM and my recent experiences that have prompted me to want to prioritize introverted sensing more. It talks about the intuition sensing axis there in a way that I think makes good intuitive sense as a competition between metaphysical exploration and metaphysical security, whereas extroverted sensing and introverted intuition are more about the opposite, metaphysical security and physical exploration. So, the other thing I'd like to say about extroverted intuition before I come to a close, and this is prioritizing extroverted intuition over introverted intuition here. Introverted intuition told me that was a good place to end the video, but this video is about extroverted intuition, so I'm going to go ahead and indulge it. It's an improvisational function. It doesn't like to have any kind of plan, ideally. If it has its way, the plan is, well, let's see what happens. And so extroverted intuitors tend to be good at improvisational things. When I was in high school, my favorite two events by far were SPAR, spontaneous argumentation, which is impromptu debate, and impromptu speaking. And those were the events that I usually did the best in. I often won those events. I often got first place. I was good at, but not as successful at, policy debate. I mean, I don't know if it was tougher competition or not. I think I was just more naturally talented in impromptu and SPAR. I mean, the thing is, in policy debate, you've got to have a lot of prep, and I had a partner doing most of the prep for me, but that still doesn't mean that, if I had actually prepared instead of just bullshitting all the time, I would have been a lot better off, but I didn't have a coach, so. Anyway, the improvisational stuff has stuck with me for my whole life. One reason I liked teaching and like coaching is because it allows me the opportunity to do it all off the cuff. I don't have to have plans, really. I mean, most teachers have lesson plans, right? I never had any lesson plans. And not only that, but now that I'm a coach, such things would constrain me substantially and would be a bad idea. I need to be able to determine what we're doing based on what I'm hearing from the kids, right? I have to be adaptive, responsive, or it's not effective. So, my life is structured as an extroverted intuitor's life is structured, tends to be, or as they'd like it to be structured. I've got a whole lot of freedom with most of my time. I've got very few commitments that require me to be here or there at certain periods of time. Today I have none. Tomorrow I have from 4 to 8 p.m. I need to be in Alhambra. Thursday I have from 5 to 7 p.m. I need to be in Alhambra. Friday, I have band practice, but it's hit and miss. Saturday, I got 9 to noon. Sunday is a full day. I got a lot of shit going on. Monday, I got 4 to 7. It's a pretty light schedule, right? A couple hours a day, 3 hours, 4 hours. My busy day Sunday, I got from 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. So, I mean, that's a full day. But all other days are really light. And it's a schedule I can live with, right? I never miss my classes. I'm there every single time. If I'm not, I've got a sub in place. But, I mean, if I'm not, it's because I'm doing something else to bait that requires my attention. It's not because I'm fucking around. I will be getting subs for my Detroit trip, which I'm still taking. That's an extroverted intuition thing, too. On a whim, I said, I want to go to Detroit, and I did. I mean, I didn't go there yet, but I booked the hotel. I paid for it. It's good to go. I'm going to drive across country. I'm going to stay in wherever, like Motel 6 or whatever on the way. I'm not going to make any reservations. I'll just stop and hotel when I want, knowing that my final destination, I have to stay there at this night. I have to be there by this night, like that. So that's a very extroverted intuition way to travel, right? I booked a one-night hotel for a week-plus long trip. I'm going to play everything else by ear. But that one-night hotel guarantees that the plan is serious, that I'm going to follow through and do the thing I'm planning to do, which is go to Detroit. Why does it guarantee it? Well, because I already paid for the hotel room. I paid for a fancy hotel room at the MGM Grand. And I'm not an indulgent spender like that. But on one night I am. Just one night. I'll go get a fancy hotel room. And I'm going to minimize the other numbers of nights that I have to even stay in hotels. I'll probably, basically get one hotel night for 2 nights worth of sleeping and try to cram it. Like, go hard and then get 12 hours instead of 8. So, yeah, that's extroverted intuition for you. That's my thing. I'll probably do this. I'll probably play out like this. It might. People always want more certainty than that. It's frustrating to me. Well, but when are we going to stop and where are we going to... I don't know. We'll find out when we get there. People don't like that. People want more declarative statements from a person than that, And extroverted intuition doesn't like that because they don't like to pin their future in, right? Their future involves another opportunity to survey the present and go, okay, starting here from a blank slate, what do we do? And if we are making plans that pin in the future, then all of a sudden now our blank slate is like, okay, well, we can fit a little blank slate in here and a little blank slate. Then you really limit the number of possible avenues you can take. So that's my thorough introduction to extroverted intuition. It's sometimes fun, sometimes blathers on indefinitely for no good purpose, hopefully stays on topic, sometimes it's tangential. It explores a lot of different possible avenues on any given subject. It improvises well. It likes to chit-chat, as I do. And if it's paired with TI, like mine is, and for thinking, then it likes to talk about abstract models a lot. But I'll tell you this, ENFPs, they like to talk about abstract models a lot too. My policy debate coach, Justin, he's an ENFP, and he is one of the smartest guys I've ever met, and a stunningly good debater. And so don't think that TF difference is the decisive factor. The extroverted intuition DOMs, they may naturally incline towards utilizing one or the other, but we're both capable of accessing the other judging function. As I've learned, as I'm learning, and continuing to learn as an ENTP, that even if it's in the 7th slot, if you put a lot of time and attention towards trying to understand it, spend some time trying to feel those emotions instead of evading them all the time, and just living with them and sort of coming to terms with them, then you too, as any TI individual, if you are an ENTP like me, can access those introverted feelings in an effective and meaningful way. They are an important qualifying factor in decision making that has to be considered if you want to have a fully realized manifestation of your free will. And thus do I conclude this exciting episode of Talking with Famous People, and this somewhat slow to start, somewhat long to persist, and slow to end, as is typical of extroverted intuition, video about extroverted intuition by me, the rambling, stumbling, bumbling, bambling host Eric of Talking with Famous People. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.